Picture this: Formula One, the most elite motorsport on the planet, where every lap is a test of precision, nerve, and pure talent. A place where the margin between glory and defeat is measured in thousandths of a second. But right now, that very identity is being shaken. The man at the center of it all is F1 President Stefano Domenicali, and he's not talking about small tweaks. He's pushing for a seismic shift in how Formula One weekends unfold. His latest push, expanding sprint races and introducing a controversial reverse grid format, it's a vision that has split the paddock in two, pitting the sport's governing principles against the growing influence of race promoters who want maximum entertainment value. The sprint weekend, which debuted in 2021, was already a polarizing idea. Shorter races on Saturdays designed to add drama before Sunday's Grand Prix. Initially, it gave fans a little extra thrill, cars dicing for points in a condensed shootout, but Domenicali wants more. He sees the sprint not as an occasional bonus, but as a central pillar of F1's future. In his eyes, 6 sprint races a year isn't enough. He's openly floated the idea of doubling or tripling that number, and the reverse grid. That's where things get truly explosive. Imagine the fastest cars starting from the middle or back, forced to carve through slower traffic. For TV, it's chaos in the best sense: more overtakes, more battles, more unpredictability. But for the drivers, and for purists, it's the exact opposite of fair competition. It's a manufactured spectacle that risks undermining everything the sport is built on. This is no longer just about formats or schedules. It's about who really controls the DNA of Formula One. To understand why this is so divisive, you have to look back at what the sprint was meant to be. In 2021, it was introduced as an experiment, a way to give fans something meaningful on Saturday, replacing the usual long practice sessions with a race that could influence Sunday's grid. Drivers were allowed to make car adjustments afterward, meaning Saturday didn't lock them into a bad setup. Over time, the format evolved: separate qualifying sessions for the sprint, points awarded to the top finishers, but the core idea remained: add excitement without replacing the main event. The problem is, for Domenicali, the sprint hasn't reached its full potential. He points to Formula 2, Formula 3, and even MotoGP, where multiple shorter races spice up the season. Promoters, who spend millions to host a Grand Prix, want more action across the weekend, not just on Sunday. From their perspective, a Friday qualifying session, a Saturday sprint, and a Sunday Grand Prix gives fans a reason to stay glued to every minute. But here's where the tension starts. F1's history is built on the Grand Prix being the ultimate test: strategy, endurance, and raw pace over a full race distance. If sprint races become the main attraction, the prestige of Sunday could erode, and with the reverse grid idea, that erosion could accelerate. Instead of rewarding speed in qualifying, drivers could be penalized for being the fastest. That's the kind of change that has champions like Verstappen and Russell pushing back hard. The reverse grid concept is perhaps the most controversial element of Domenicali's proposal. On paper, it sounds thrilling. Take the finishing order from a previous session and flip it. The fastest drivers start further back, the slower ones at the front. It guarantees more overtaking attempts, surprise podiums, and nail-biting duels. But in practice, it's a minefield. George Russell has already warned that it could create endless DRS trains: long lines of cars stuck behind one another, unable to pass because each driver is defending against their closest rival in performance. Verstappen sees it as a gimmick, turning F1 into a lottery rather than a contest of skill. Even Hamilton, who's had memorable charges through the field, points out that those drives were over full race distances with strategic depth, not short sprints where tire management and track position dictate everything. In Formula 2 and 3, reverse grids work partly because Sunday's main race resets the order. But in F1, if the reverse grid sprint doesn't require a separate qualifying for Sunday, it could mean undeserving pole positions and skewed championship results. That's a serious threat to the integrity of the sport. And yet, from a pure entertainment perspective, it's hard to deny the appeal. Seeing a Williams defend from a Ferrari, or a Haas holding off a McLaren, is the kind of unexpected storyline that makes casual viewers tune in. The danger is that in chasing those moments, F1 could lose its competitive soul. Behind all of this is the growing influence of promoters. Hosting a Formula One race is a massive investment, often hundreds of millions over the course of a contract. In return, they want more than just a 2-hour spectacle on Sunday. They want the entire weekend to be marketable, broadcast-friendly, and worth every dollar. That's why Domenicali's proposals resonate with them. More sprints mean more ticket sales, more TV rights value, and more global attention. But there's a flip side. If the sport becomes too tailored to entertainment, traditional venues could be squeezed out. We've already seen legendary tracks like Spa-Francorchamps fighting for their place on the calendar. While new city circuits and locations with little motorsport heritage are popping up, the fear among fans is that history, driver skill, and engineering excellence could be sacrificed for glitz and spectacle. This isn't the first time F1 has faced such crossroads. Bernie Ecclestone's era brought its own controversies, but the difference now is the speed and scale of change. with Liberty Media driving the sports commercial side and Domenicali steering the regulatory direction. The balance of power is shifting toward those who see F1 primarily as a product to sell, rather than a sport to protect. So here's the real question: what is Formula One supposed to be in the next decade? Is it a pure sporting contest that crowns the fastest and smartest, or is it a global entertainment package designed to keep audiences hooked at all costs? Domenicali clearly believes you can have both, but history suggests compromise is often tip one way. If sprint races multiply and reverse grids become reality, we might see an F1 where racecraft matters less than luck, where strategic mastery is replaced by manufactured chaos. Some drivers might adapt, others might walk away early, unwilling to play by rules that feel artificial. And for fans, the divide could grow sharper between those who crave unpredictable drama and those who value tradition and fairness above all else. At the heart of this is a power struggle, promoters wielding financial influence, the FIA trying to uphold sporting integrity, and the drivers the ones risking their lives caught in the middle. The decisions made in the next few years will shape not just the race weekends, but the legacy of Formula One itself. So before the grid is flipped, both literally and metaphorically, the sport must decide what matters most, and that's where you come in, because the future of F1 isn't just decided in boardrooms or paddocks. It's influenced by the fans who watch, who cheer, and who demand better. So tell me, should Formula One embrace this new era, or hit the brakes before the show swallows the sport whole? Drop your thoughts below, and if you want to stay ahead of every twist and turn shaping the grid, make sure you subscribe, because the biggest changes in F1 history might be just around the corner.